Guys, I thought this was a little like the emojis might give it away a little bit, might tease it a little bit, but I thought this was a good opportunity. It's a week before the season starts, so let's have a look at the routine of an FPL obsessive. What does a week look like in the shoes of an FPL obsessive? Well, look, let's start with your Mondays. What are we doing on Mondays, guys? Many of us are starting our 9 to 5 day job, but we're also setting our bus team. We do that just in case, for some whatever reason, we miss the deadline 5 days later. Like, that never happens. We don't miss deadlines, but we set our bus teams. We make sure our bench is in the right order. We put the armband on the right player. It's really important that we do that. And of course, we're thinking about future targets. We're probably looking at potential transfers, but not actually clicking them, because we don't really like making Monday transfers unless we know there's a price rise. So yeah, Dean, I'm hoping you're going to relate with some of this, but the bus team thing.
I'm very
is
interested to see
important.
how much of this I can relate to. I've got to admit, the fact it's already like a 7-day-a-week job is worrying me. But carry on.
Oh, absolutely, mate. It is 9 to 5, 7 days a week. Okay, so let's look at what we do on Tuesdays. We're definitely looking at our watch list of targets. We're browsing all the headlines, not just for like general football news, but anything that can affect our players. And then again, the subs and captain, we're probably tinkering again. The amount of times on a Monday or a Tuesday I've changed my captain or my bench order or my bus team, ridiculous. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it properly on the Friday night. So that's my Tuesday. And look, this is a normal week without the Champions League and the European fixtures.
Yeah.
So let's check out Wednesday, because obviously Tuesday we'd have our Champions League hat on quite often. Wednesday is my stat day. Like, I'm looking on the Scout members area. If you haven't got a membership with Scout, it's 20 something pounds a year. Ridiculous value for money. Wealth of stats there. I'm looking at any of the midweek games. I'm looking at minutes for all of my players and all my transfer targets. If, for example, you've got a Man City midfielder and they've played on a Wednesday 90 minutes, you're like, oh, will Pep, bench Mahrez this weekend? And I'm keeping my eyes on price rise websites. Guys, there are websites out there. The one I use most is called fplstatistics.co.uk. That's fplstatistics.co.uk, which tells you, it predicts when your players will be rising or dropping in price. So you know if you have to bring them in or transfer them out early. Fantasy Football Fix is another one that does that. They're usually about 90-95% accurate, and at 2 a.m. is when the player prices change. So you need to make transfers before 2 a.m. by Thursday, we get serious. Training picks so important, because by the end of the week, guys, Thursdays and Fridays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, the players are doing proper training. So you want to make sure none of your players are sitting out. You want to be checking their social media to make sure they're not abroad, to make sure that they're at training. Also, social media of partners. Dean, I hit an all-time low 3 years ago when I had Lindelof in my team, and there was talk that his wife was 9 months pregnant. Well, she was 9 months pregnant, and it was like, oh, when's the baby going to come? So I had to follow his wife to check out baby bump and make sure that he wasn't going to go to hospital with his wife, because she might go into labour that day and therefore miss United playing whoever.
That is honestly dedication, mate. Most people don't commit to their actual job like you're committing to this. This is unreal. I'm loving it.
Mate, these footballers' wives as well, Insta stories aren't like 2 or 3 a day. You've got to keep clicking for hours to get through all their stories. And then by Friday, like, the press conferences are so important. You are trying to get every little like edge you can, like something a manager might say, the way he might answer a question. In Italy, press conferences with managers are pretty good. Like, from a fantasy football point of view, they pretty much name the 11 most weeks. That is pretty obvious. But the mind games we get in the Premier League, I think it was started by Mourinho, maybe, I don't know. But you're trying to read what you can. And some managers are better than others with saying who's available for selection, who's going to start.
Yeah. I wish it was like some of the teams abroad, but they just name their 11 in the press conference. Imagine
so
that.
Good.
Imagine we knew on the Friday all the teams.
Oh, it's so good for fantasy football, that. And Dean, this is where your Fridays and mine are probably quite similar, because you're looking at stuff like selection. So you're looking at, I know you've done a lot of predicting of 11s in the past, and something you do for this show. So that's again something you try and get from what press managers say.
Yeah, I think I'm like I'm more of definitely until starting the show was more of a casual player. Like, took it seriously, but like didn't have the intensity from Monday to Thursday that you have, and then really pick up on it Thursday through to the weekend. But traditionally, I was a newspaper journalist, and was going to press conferences and stuff anyway. So I've always been in that world. And you're right, pressers, there are just nuggets that you pick up. And, you know, you can watch Sky Sports News, but they'll only focus on like the big sound bite from that presser. You need to delve deeper, like club websites, watch the full presser, or there's little places like Haters TV. Like that's quite a good YouTube channel. Actually, I used to work for Haters actually. They get every presser pretty much, and you can watch a lot of them in detail. So anywhere you can find that you can watch pressers in more detail, because the thing that appeals to us, obviously, is the team news. And that's how every press conference begins. Like, you just want to ease the manager into, like, latest injury news. Oh, what's happening with so-and-so? Like, any chance of a shuffle? And most of that stuff does not make mainstream media, because it's pretty dull stuff generally, like for trying to sell newspapers, get clicks, whatever. But for us, that is the essential stuff and the only stuff you really want, to be honest.
Yeah, I always follow a local journalist to the club, and whether that's reading that person's tweets or the newspaper they work for, often the press conferences are transcribed. So I just read the transcripts, which is great.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
As you say, because it's all the boring bits that matter for FPL, but not for the mainstream media. Saturday is obviously your locked transfer day, and you are trying to get any edge before that deadline of any team leaks or news or players not being in the hotel or on the coach. And again, some of those rumours are often just rumours and not true, but sometimes you get those edges.
Imagine like Ronaldo's seen with the squad on a pre-match walk on like Saturday morning, and it's like, what? Ronaldo's going to start against Brighton? No.
Imagine that. He's like, literally 3 days training with Ten Hag and straight in, and all those Martial owners. And then Sunday is like, look, Super Sunday is usually, it features often the biggest game of the weekend. It's the Sky Sports 4:30 slot, right? And if that's, say, a Liverpool or a Man City or a Chelsea, and you haven't got their star man in your team, like last season, I had a few game weeks without Mo Salah on that Super Sunday game, and just so many bad memories of not captaining Salah.
It can ruin your day, doesn't it? It does actually ruin your day.
Honestly, mate, I'm looking forward to some of my Sundays being out the house this year because of the little one, that I won't be parked in front of the TV
see every single
week.
game. I
think that'll be a good thing. Guys, that's been awesome. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've been able to relate to it.